All right, this is day 4. These have been sitting on the counter for a while. The house has been a little cold, so I let it go an extra day. This is the last and final fermentation where all the flavor gets added to the kombucha. Hey, shh. So anyway, these are 1 gallon jugs, and then I've got these half-gallon growlers. So typically when I'm harvesting this, I'll certainly get a half-gallon, but I'll tend to also get a couple bottles as well. Of course, the kids are just playing in the background. So I've got a little funnel that has something to catch everything. I don't know. I still leave it in there, but really the thing that does all the catching is this little sieve. So let's see. So on top, what you'll see is that basically like a whole nother SCOBY forms. This one's got elderberry, clove, cinnamon, blackberries, and raspberries in it. It's this big berry mix. So, of course, I do this over the sink. I just grab the jar and go for it. Now, because I left the berries whole, it's going to be a pretty clean process. Oh, I think the juice of a lemon was also in here. Oh. Fizz down a little bit. So I leave about an inch of headspace at the top of these little bottles. I'll rinse them off after. Okay. And now the rest of this can go in the compost, go to the chickens, go wherever. Everything. Now working between batches, I don't really care too much about washing these too much in between the batches. Just give them a little rinse off, so we don't have too many flavors merging in. But and these I just give a rinse. The kombucha itself is pretty acidic, and the jars, just with a rinse, tend to stay pretty clean. If I see that I've got some staining on the jars or anything that wants to stick on the jars, then I will give it a wash every now and then. Make sure there's enough headspace on everything. And that's it for these. We've got a couple pretty bottles as the light's kind of shining through them. So now we'll move on to, this is my favorite mix. This, let's see, the recipe for this one is that it's got equal parts flowers. Let's see, chamomile, lavender, hibiscus, rose petals. Yeah, I think that's it. Those 4. And then there is a whole 1 or 2 lemons that are juiced, and I even put the rinds in there to give some bitters to it. And then there's little slices of ginger in there as well, about an inch or 2 of ginger. So again, everything gets done over the sink because it can get pretty messy otherwise. So these are the final stages of making kombucha, where it's all... Oh, I forgot my sieve. Oh man, gonna have some things escaping. Because I forgot it, and I do want to make sure I get a relatively clean pour, I'm going to end up taking what I poured and putting it in the bottles. Yep, there's lots of floaties in the jar. Hey, if anything, it's helpful for you to see a mistake and how I remediate it and catch it.
We need 10 layers, so I have one more layer after this.
Oh, there you go. Well, so I do have some like pulp and stuff that was in the jar. Basically, I want a clean product so that when I drink it, it's going to be nice and smooth, and I don't have anything floating around in the bottle.
No, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to attach all of them like this.
There we go. All right. So let's do this one for real then.
Assembling it well. You won't be able to assemble those together.
Hey, no, chill. You're on video right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, people can hear the way that you talk to your brother, so chill.
Why are you talking about me then?
All right.
You also gotta make a point at the top of your building.
So you see between the two jars, this one yielded just a little bit less, but pretty much the same. So this is for my own home use. So because I'm comfortable at home, just using a rinse and then cycling these over. This one I'll give a wash. This stuff is stuck in there. But with a lot of the other containers, I know my own food, like food safety in my own household. This is safe enough for this, but if I was selling this, I'd be washing and sterilizing everything in between. Really, the fear is that I don't want to leave any soap residue inside this, because if there happens to be any soap residue, if I'm rushing or whatever, then that'll kill the bacteria and the yeast that are in the primary fermentation. All right, thanks for watching.